welcome to today's Hatha practice. We are going to start today's practice on our backs. And like I said, if you want to turn on some music, if you haven't already done that, feel free to go ahead and get a little gentle background music going for yourself today. A block or a blanket or a pillow might be nice, but just take your time to move yourself down to the floor. I'm going to make sure I have a little background music for myself today. Though you may not be able to hear it at home, it helps kind of keep me on pace. So as you rest here on your back, let's just take our time to check in, like we always do. We always start our practice with that peaceful opening breath, just taking our time to settle the spine down into the earth, letting the breath be nice and slow. And just take time to breathe in and breathe out, letting go of anything that doesn't serve us today. Today's opening intentions, today's opening card is so appropriate for a home practice. This is from Louise Hay's Wisdom card. It says, "My home is a peaceful haven. I bless my home with love. I put love in every corner, and my home lovingly responds with warmth and comfort. I am at peace. I bless my home with love. I put love in every corner of my home, and my home lovingly responds with warmth and comfort. I am at peace." So let's take time today to remind ourselves what a luxury it is for us to have a safe place to practice in, the comfort of our home. And take advantage of the space that you have. Really stretch out, take wide, big stances, big, full breaths, because you know that you can do that here at home. So when you feel ready, just go ahead and recline yourself back if you haven't already done so. I see some of you still kind of working your way down. Bring your knees into your chest if that feels good, maybe even placing your hands on the tops of the kneecaps. And just let the knees take a little bit of circular motion. Maybe hugging into the belly and then taking your time to slowly push it away. Hugging it into the belly. And then give yourself time to slowly push it away. It might feel nice to place the hands on the backs of the thighs, maybe elevate the feet up towards the ceiling. You can point and flex the toes here a little bit or roll around your ankles. And then bring those knees back down into the body again. So slow, easy movement side to side with your knees. Keep the right knee hugged in towards the body. Let this left leg maybe shoot out long down the mat. Same thing here. You can roll the ankles, point and flex your toes. I'm even going to hug this knee slightly over towards my armpit. Get a little more hip opening. Taking my opposite hand, so right hand's holding on to that right knee. I'm going to bring my left hand over and place it on my left hip. Kind of keeping it grounded here into the earth. If and when you're ready, we'll take the time to bring that right knee back to center. Left hand's going to move over towards the outer edge of that right knee, and then you're going to bring it over to the left side of your body. I'm extending my left hand straight out to the side, palms facing up to the sky. And since it's so early in my practice, I'm going to keep my head square. So I'm not going to turn my nose one side or the other. I'm just going to relax and really see if I can let go of the outer edges of my hips. Getting a gentle twisting here of the core, wringing out those abdominals. Perfect. Bringing that knee back to center. Switch your grip to the back of the thigh. Push the heel of the foot up nice and tall. And then just as you did before, get those ankles some more movement. It might even feel nice to slide this hand up the back of the leg, maybe opposite foot even comes a couple inches up off the ground, kind of into a spider pose. You can even reach for your big toe if flexibility allows. And then just soften that knee, start to bring it back down into the body. And then you're just gonna stretch it long. Let it meet your other leg. Arms go high above the head, looking for as much length as you can take from toes to fingers. Perfect. Soften those arms. Let them take a cactus shape. We're going to play a little bit with cactus today, so just let the arms settle out to the sides. Bend your knees. Walk both feet in. Rock the knees right and left. Resetting that low back. And then we'll go the other way. Left knee comes into chest. My hands are going to go to the shin first. Letting that right leg go long. Point and flex the toes. Maybe even hugging that off to the armpit if you haven't already done so. Bringing that right hand over, holding down that hip bone, making sure it stays nice and square with the earth. And then when you're ready, opposite hand's going to move to the outer edge of this knee. And we're going to welcome it all the way over and across the body. Opposite arm reaches out to the side. Probably feels good just to keep the nose angled straight up towards the ceiling, really concentrating on the outer edge of that left hip, just getting some opening, little twist through the core, relaxing the back, letting the gaze be nice and gentle on the ceiling, or your eyes might even be closed. And then we'll bring this knee back to center just as you did before. Switching the grip to the back of the thigh, elevating it up towards the sky. Remember, you can look like this, like a pair of scissors, or this foot can always slide up the mat a little bit if you need some help. You can always even have a gentle bend in the leg that's extended to the ceiling. If hands want to move back up the outer edge of that leg, you can be in a modified version looking like this. Or you can let this leg go long, push through the heel, taking whatever versions feel best to you today. Softening, bending that knee. And then we're going to take one more long body, simple stretch, toes to fingers. Elbows bend, cactus shape, knees bend, sweep them side to side. Resetting. Now with your arms still in this cactus shape, you're going to stand your elbows. So your fingertips are going to point towards the ceiling. And then I want you to pull the elbows down by the sides of your body. And I realize that I'm kind of half cut off here, so I'm going to move just a little bit away from the camera. All right, so those elbows are down on the ground. My fingertips are pointed straight up. I'm going to push through the back sides of my arms, plant my feet right behind my glutes, and lift. So you're in a bridge pose. Right now you've got space underneath your hips here. They're not touching the ground, and your fingertips are pointed up towards the ceiling. Let the breath get slow and steady, maybe even closing your eyes here. You've got some engagement happening in the thoracic spine. Really pushing through the back sides of the arms. Relaxing the neck, though. We often clench our chin or our shoulders when we take big shapes. Hands are going to walk down towards the ground. Let them find position. Heels lift. And then just exhale and start to lower all this back to the mat, one vertebra at a time. Good work. Straighten the left leg nice and long down the mat. Right foot stays right here. Right foot stays planted. Let your right knee fall out to the side. And then see if you can reach your hands up over your head. Make yourself look like tree pose, just laying on the ground. Now for some of us, this knee feels pretty natural. I'll reach for my block. Feels pretty natural, and it can roll to the side fine. For others, you're going to be more comfortable looking for that pillow or your block that I suggested, and just put that right underneath the outer edges of the knee. Oftentimes, that can help your hips settle a little better if it has some support, especially if it feels like a big overstretch. All right, as you feel ready, Take hands down, help this knee stand back up. And then we're gonna switch. Extend the leg long, let the opposite knee bend. If you were using a block or a pillow, it's probably gonna switch sides so that you can let that knee fall out and open to the sides. You're taking that same tree. Now I'm gonna say that for some of us, this doesn't really feel like a big stretch. It's pretty subtle, where for others, this is a lot. There's a lot happening in your shoulders, your upper back, your hips, your groin. Lots of big stretching here. So it just kind of depends on where we are as to how subtle this is for us, but it's a wonderful grounding version of our tree pose. It's a good way for us to check into our breath and watch our bellies rise up towards the sky as we inhale. And then just let that breath leave you as you exhale. Let it take with it anything you don't need anymore, whether those be emotions or just physical tensions hiding in the body. Hands come down and start to help this knee back up. Let's stand it back up to the sky. Perfect. And then we'll bring both knees into your chest now. Maybe one easy at a time, or just hug them in quick, whatever feels good to you. You can rock side to side. You can start rocking forward and back. You can make whatever choices make sense to your own spine. And then we're going to find our way to a seat. So you can rock and roll, or I'm just going to kind of roll to my right and then just push into the ground. Your choice. Here we go. Find your seat. This is a good place to put a pillow if you'd like, or if you've got that yoga block. I'm going to take my yoga block and just put it right under the tip of my tail just to give me a little more height. Main reason I like to put a block or a pillow underneath my feet, when you put it right at the tip, like the tip of your tailbone right there, it makes you a little more intentional. So I can see all of you sitting nice and tall. That's good. Pulling the crown of the head up towards the sky. So see if you can reach these hands out to the sides. Get a nice big inhale breath as your fingertips reach up and tall. Exhale breath, your right hand's gonna fall towards the earth. Inhale, stretch over. And then as you exhale, take this hand that's in the sky and let it start to kind of come down, angling towards that front knee there. So it's a little twist. Inhale, bring the arm back up. Exhale, breath, lean into the side body stretch. And then inhale, bring both hands, rise back up. Exhale, let's go the other way. Fall to the side. Round of breath here. Inhale, breath. Exhale, let this hand from the sky start to move down towards that knee. Inhale, breath, rise to the side body stretch. Exhale, sink in a little further. Inhale, breath, take both hands back up, start to rise. Exhale, bring these slowly to the heart, palm to palm. Inhale, fingertips lace. Exhale, press them straight forward. Beautiful. Rock and roll here a little bit. Let the side body have some movement. Perfect. And then inhale, bring the hands back towards your body. Reach around back so they can just kind of point an exclamation behind you, or they can lace. You can even lift the chin if that feels accessible today, but if it doesn't, that's okay too. See if you can soften the eyes, open the heart, really feel as if the weight of the world dropping off your shoulders. Your heart is opening to new possibilities. You are enjoying the safety and comfort of what is your safe haven, your home. Take those hands from being laced together. Let them start to walk forward. If you've been on a block or a pillow, this should feel pretty easy to start tipping at those hip creases and folding over your lap. If you're sitting flat to the earth, it's going to be really easy to want to hunch your back. So really be intentional with trying to expand, lead with your heart. The big stiff logo of my shirt is what is moving forward towards the floor as I reach with long spine. Inhale, breath, bring that belly up from your lap. Bring your hands back in near you. Beautiful. Start to unravel those legs. If you've been sitting on something, it makes an easy transition. Start to get rid of that and put yourself into tabletop pose. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And we're going to play a little bit with our table today. I've got something different we're going to try. But we're going to just start by making sure that spine is active. So inhale, breath, belly drops. For cow pose, exhale, breath. Back rises. For cat pose, so just take your time. One more version of this, that easy cat-cow. Sometimes we underestimate how simple just some cat-cow is and what wonderful benefits it can bring to our physical body. When you next get that big cat spine, let's take your first child's pose. If you don't have any limitations with the belly, go ahead and keep the knees a little closer. Sit the hips back, let the spine get nice and long. Of course, if when you start to do that, you think, you know what, I could benefit from more space. Just spread your knees a little bit. Let the belly have a little bit more room to fall down into the middle there, bringing the forehead down into the mat. Just sink down into the heels. Find your version of child's pose. Even if it's not quite as big and pronounced as I'm showing, you can always have something a little smaller if you need it. Showing a couple different modifications here. And then we'll get ourselves back up and find that table. See if we can find a little inner strength now. Reaching that right hand straight forward, let the left toes extend out behind you. Now, bird dog, you're pretty used to. I do this one quite often. So this isn't anything new for us just yet. But I'm going to shift here. Hopefully, maybe if I go this way, you'll be able to see me a little better. So you've got that. Oh, I'm going to switch those. I'm going to mirror you. Okay, right hand is extended, left toes. Now I'm going to start to see if I can test my balance. Bring my right hand out to the side along with my left leg. And those of you I know that are practicing with a spouse or a daughter or some other family member today, try not to kick them. You reach out to the sides here. All right, bring that back to the middle, reach and extend. Hand's gonna come down and look for the mat. So I'm gonna switch again. Back leg that's been long is gonna come down, toes are gonna touch the earth, and we'll push through that heel. Just get yourself a nice calf stretch there. If you'd like, you can take the toes on the opposite leg, curl those under too, and put yourself in a little half down dog. Let your breath lead this practice. So I know sometimes when I'm mic'd up like this, I know you can hear me breathe. Let that be a reminder to you that you should be having some nice full breaths as well. Drop the knees back, let them find the ground. Take a cat-cow to stabilize the spine, bring it back into action, reconnect with the breath. And then back to that basic table. Let's see if we can build bird dog on the opposite side. Now, whatever arm you had extended last time, obviously we're going to be opposite this time. Whatever leg's been out to the back, you're going to switch it up. You'll start to reach that arm out to the side, check for balance, and then see if your leg can go as well. Now, there's going to be a limitation. At some point, your hip's going to say nope, and it's not going to let you go any further, and that's okay. You can flex this foot. That might help keep more engagement through the knees, the outer hip. But you're going to feel your obliques. They're fired. They're ready to be involved in this practice today. Bring the hand back to center, bring the foot back to center, hand comes down to mat, back leg starts to look for earth, toes curl under, calf stretch again. Some nice length in the body. All right, from here, knees find the earth. Walk these hands, one big hand step out in front of you. Put yourself in a half plank. So shift the hips just a little bit here so you look like you're in a half push-up. Toes are going to curl under, hips are going to lift up, first down dog. Now this may be your first down dog today. It may be your first down dog in a week. Or it may be longer since you've done a down dog. If any of those is true, be easy on your body today. Take time to watch the mechanics of your down dog. Your gaze is back towards your toes. Your knees are probably bent, softening that long spine. All right, take slow movement with those feet. Let's see if we can bring them up towards your hands. If you have a block handy, you certainly can bring that onto the mat to assist in your forward fold. And then we'll take our time. Inhale, breath brings us up halfway, long spine, crown is forward. Exhale, breath is folding us. Inhale, breath, hands reach up, they look up, we find the sky. And then take those same cactus arms we talked about on the earth. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, half sun salutation. You're back folding yourself down to the earth, watching that spine. Inhale, coming up halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, breath, hands reach up. We look up, extending tall, cactus pose. Let's do that one more time. Follow your own pace of breath, your own speed here. Following with me, or maybe going a little faster, or maybe a little slower. Connect again with that cactus shape, bring it out to the side. Inhale, reach the hands up nice and tall. As you exhale, take a chair. Sit down into that invisible seat hiding behind you. The arms may be extended. You may be looking for height and length and a nice strong spine. Or maybe you need a little gentler version today, dropping those elbows down a little closer, flipping the lotus hands towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath, stand tall, reach up, exhale, cactus. Inhale, breath, reach up. Exhale, breath, chair again, sink. Hold for a breath this time. Next, inhale, stand up, reach up, exhale, cactus pose. One more time, you know the rhythm now. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sink. Hold for a full cycle of breath. Next, natural inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus shape, open up. Inhale, reach these hands high above the head. And then exhale and fold down towards the earth again. This time as you half lift, extend that spine nice and long. Exhale, plant the hands. Step the right foot back, drop the right knee down. Inhale, both hands up as you feel ready. And then just check yourself here. See what you can do with this kneeling lunge. I'm going to soften at the elbows and make a little basket grip. Just kind of tucking right here behind the back of my head. Now, depending on how it feels in your body, you might take your right elbow towards your left knee and add just a little twist and then back. Do it again. Now, what I don't want you to do is have your head all tucked over. So see if we can keep the spine nice and tall. So even if when you add that twist, you're not going the full distance, it's okay. Back to center. Hands reach up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach up. And then we're going to give this front leg some relief. So if you've got blocks, plural, handy, you can reach for both. If you've just got one, that's fine too. See if you can come back up off that front knee. See how mine goes straight. And then you can kind of point and flex the toes here a little bit, playing around with the stretch from the calf to the shin. All right, put some weight back into this front foot. If you've got two blocks, great. If you don't, hands are down here on the earth. Curl the back toes under. See if we can lift this knee And then I'm really big right now, so I'm going to pop these back toes up just a little bit to give me more stability as I start to climb up, looking for a big crescent. All about those hip flexors on that back foot. All right, I'm going to test a little bit of balance here. As my hands go forward, as soon as they touch the floor, I'm going to see if I can send my front foot all the way to the back of the mat and put myself in a plank pose. All in one simple step. Good. Exhale, lower. One cobra, belly's touching the ground. Take your time. Lower back to earth. Let the hands move back. Even with about your breastbone, curl the toes, push to knees or to high plank. And then hips lift up and back, settling into your downward dog shape, that long extended spine. All right, from here, we're just gonna walk the feet up towards your hands, find your forward fold again, even if it takes a couple steps to get there. Bend those knees, shake the head or nod the head. Find a half lift. Exhale, fold. This time, left foot steps back, left knee looks for ground. Bring the hands up. And then just take your time, just as we did before. When we were here last time, we kind of reached up. Some of you immediately went into that basket grip. Now, the deeper you sit into this front knee, the more you're going to feel kind of a split action and going to give you a lot more stretch for that hip flexor. If that agrees with your body, great. If it's not, back off. You don't have to take something that doesn't sit well with you. All right, we start adding a little bit of that twisting motion. So my left elbow, this time is going towards my right knee. And if it feels really good when you get to a certain spot, maybe you kind of hit a good portion of that twist, you can hold, or you can let this be really fluid. Finishing that off, take your time back to that center area, hands reaching up, exhaling to find cactus, inhaling back up, and this is where we get to come off that front leg. So if you have multiple blocks, like I was showing before, you'll just kind of shift some weight back, hinging right over that hip crease, playing with a little pointing or flexing of this front foot. And just when your body wants to come out of the pose, either because of pain, discomfort, or boredom, that's where you want to bring your breath in. Remind yourself why you're in these shapes. Start to stand that front foot back, either two hands on blocks or on the earth. Curl the toes under, lift that back knee, and then you're ready. And if your stance is a little big, you're testing balance here to come all the way up to that crescent lunge. Now, as we did before, the balance element is in knowing that as soon as my hands hit the floor, I'm going to do a big weight transfer and send this front foot all the way back to the back of my mat. It's a big transfer of weight. Good. Put yourself into that plank, either half or full, and then easy lower. Keep these biceps working. Keep it close to the body. Triceps involved. Belly comes down. Either up dog with palms near the breastbone or cobra with arms and hands up near the armpits. Just one of those, or two, or three, depending on how fast you are ahead of me. When you're ready to transition, just take your time. This one, I'm just going to sit on knees and take it to child's pose. You, of course, can have your hips lifted nice and high and put yourself in downward facing dog. Hatha yoga is kind of like an unanswered question. You can decide if it's Hatha yoga with an exclamation point, meaning that you want to add a few vinyasas. You want to test the strength a little bit. It can be Hatha yoga with a period, meaning you're just going to find the stillness, embrace the poses as they are, stay put. Or, as I often teach it, with a question mark, meaning you can shift back and forth between many different styles, because Hatha is like a big umbrella, and lots of things fit underneath that umbrella. Being slow, controlled movement, or fast, or a little bit more fluid flow. Take your time when your feet are ready. Those of us in child's pose, you're going to start to crawl or walk. Those in down dog, same thing. Just start to move towards the front of your mat. Maybe find another fold. And then the inhale breath is going to let us rise back up. Plant those feet like number 11. Reach the hands tall. Exhale, take that same cactus shape, watching the low back, not to sway out behind us. And then just let the hands settle back into your heart. All right, I have a big shape I want us to do for balance. And I'm noticing that my camera is probably going to chop my arms off. So I want you to just find standing Tadasana just for a moment. I'm going to see if I can adjust this. I'm sorry, guys. Whoa, that's going to be way too high. Yeah, that might work. Okay, we may still cut me off a little bit, but that's a little bit better. All right, what I want you to do is to start to think about grounding through your feet. Today's balance pose that we're going to play with is an X pose or star pose. So we're going to ground through your right leg, just as we did when we were on all fours, and then we tried to reach arm out to the side, leg out to the side. We're going to take that same kind of movement here. So your right foot is what's grounding. You're going to turn your right toes out just about 45 degrees. So if you can see that on the screen, I took just a slight turn of my toes out to the edge. I'm going to ground through that foot. And as I inhale, I'm going to bend a little bit on my right knee, sweep my left foot out to the side, and make my arms reach wide like an X. Now, if you see my lifted leg, I'm flexing those toes, pulling those back towards my face, and trying to reach my body nice and wide. So you may have to just tap that toe on the ground just to get stability, relax the shoulders, and then you might feel confident enough to really reach. Maybe this leg can come a little higher. That's a new one for some of us. So if you feel really unsturdy or unsure, that's okay. Sometimes it takes a little while to get used to new balancing shapes. And then start to bring the legs back down. We're going to separate feet wide as the shoulders. Place the hands behind the back and either lace them or place them on the low back. You can stay tall and proud through the chest, or you can take a little bend in the knees, hinge, and let these hands come up and away from the back. Now, this isn't an excuse to really mess up the shoulders. This is just supposed to be a heart opener here, a little gentle stretch. So if it's too big, cut back a little bit. Making sure you're maintaining some breath. Our chest will come back up when we feel ready. Those of us who folded over, let the arms come out wide. And then I just want you to kind of hug and then release, and then hug the opposite way and then release. About 2 more times, maybe matching with breath. Perfect. And then just start to get yourself where you're ready for your left foot. So depending on how much space you have in your house, your apartment, your room you're practicing in today, you might be kind of moving all over your mat just so that you have room for these big shapes. Your left toes take a slight out turn, just as we did before. We start to really think about, this is going to be our standing leg. Be aware of all parts of that foot, just south of those toes and then back here in your heels. Plant some weight there. See if you can reach the hands out. I'm going to reach off the screen here, so I'm going to scoot back a little bit. But then my arms are extended nice and wide. I've got a good flexed foot. I'm trying my best not to sink into that hip. I'm keeping it lifted, elevated, surprised, happy to be involved. The gaze is gentle. Not a super common balance pose in yoga, but you can feel it, I'm assuming, all the activation of leg muscles. And it takes up space. Sometimes it's good to take up space. To really be proud of the body you're in, really reach for your edges. Resist the urge to be smaller. Take your feet back together, arms come down. And then just as you did before, you can always turn and face a different direction for new scenery. Hands reaching behind the back, maybe just standing with a proud heart, maybe chin lift, or you can soft bend the knees and start to fold. Remembering there's no shame in just bending over. Hands can just be resting here at your low back. If you're getting it all dizzy, just bring your hands up, bring your spine up. Taking whatever variations feel best to you. And then when you're ready, use that breath to bring your chest back up. Always inhaling anytime we've been in a fold. Release those arms out and start that hugging breath again. Coming around, giving yourself a nice big hug. Releasing out, and then just switching sides. Beautiful work. All right, let's just go back and find Tadasana. Feet can be all the way together. Maybe even walk these big toes to touch. You might keep a slight space between your heels, bring your hands into your heart. And today for this Tadasana, I want you to pay a lot of attention right across the front side of your body here. So through your belly, through your pelvis, these hip muscles, hip bones rather. I want all of that to be square forward, and see if you can draw the belly button in towards your spine in such a way that you feel your abdominals are engaged. They're part of this. I want you to lift your toes up off the earth and then lay them back down. I want you to see if you can inward rotate your inner thighs. See what that does to the muscles of the glutes. They should relax a little bit, or you might feel a little external rotation in your glutes. I know as silly as that may sound or even feel in the body, but we're active. We've got lots of good movement right here across the pelvis, belly buttons into the spine. There's no way we can have a sway back here, and we're engaged. Use that same foundation in your legs to lift your hands up above your head. Reach for the ceiling. See how long you can extend your body. I know I kind of disappear off the screen, but the hands are nice and lifted. And then just soften that. Let the hands come down, bend at the knees, fold yourself all the way back down into the mat. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Now, if you are not at the front of the mat, like me, I'm kind of in the middle of my mat. I'm going to walk up here towards the front. I'm going to step my feet so that they go back to the back of my mat. Find another downward facing dog. And then I'm going to give you two options. Today, I'm going to cue you through traditional pigeon pose, but I know this won't be for everyone. So if as we start to get into this pose, it just is like, what is she talking about? No way, I'm not doing it. Then just keep listening. I'll show you another option. But I want you to see if you can lift your right foot up towards the ceiling, keeping those hips nice and square. And then bring your right knee in towards your right wrist. You might hover here for a moment, really test those abdominal muscles. Then just drop that right knee down behind your right wrist. Hopefully you can see on the screen my right toes cut across my mat at about a 45. I take this back knee and I drop it, and I flatten those toes to the earth. This is the most basic version of pigeon in the traditional sense. If you'd like to, you can start to knee toe, knee toe, knee toe to get a little bit more depth here and really sink the hips down towards the earth. If you have that block or blanket I talked about earlier, that might choose to kind of tuck itself underneath that back hip, or my personal favorite is to bring it up here towards the front of my mat. I know my gray blocks tend to blend in with the surroundings here, but you can rest it at the top and put your head on it. Now, if as you started to get into that shape, it wasn't working for you, you can fall all the way over here to this side, soften this back leg, and take a more, what am I trying to say, modified version of this pigeon shape. Another alternative, which you all know so well, because we do it so often in class, is just to skip all of that and put yourself here on your back. Do that figure 4 shape. It's going to give you similar stretch here on your back. But if you're okay in trying this full pigeon, hopefully those of you who are a little more experienced with this just stopped listening to me and started enjoying that shape. Go ahead and fall down into the earth if you haven't already. And just breathe. Releasing the issues hiding in your tissues. As silly as it sounds, it's true. And lots of much smarter than me yogis researched and studied the depths of emotions that we hide in our muscles. And when we give ourselves time to release those large muscle groups, it can kind of bring things up. So enjoying the haven that is your home. But when big things come up, you have space to assess them. Breathe into them. Tell yourself that it's going to be okay. It has to be okay. As the body feels ready, we're going to start to move to the other side. Now, I know we're all kind of in different variations of this, so just take your time. It might end up like you transition to hands and knees. Those of you already on your back, you're just going to flip your legs around and go the other way. Some of you might have been able to curl your toes and step back to a big down dog. Just get yourself so that your left leg is lifting for those of us in this shape. If you're on your back, again, you can just stay right there. Bring that left knee forward towards your left wrist. Drop it down. Again, it's painting that 45-degree angle across the mat. You're walking those toes back. Knee toe, knee toe, knee toe. You're looking for the block maybe. Maybe it goes underneath this hip so that you don't have to hold it so hard. Don't have to work so hard. Maybe you've got another block or a pillow that you can bring in here to the front of the mat so that your shoulders can relax. Knowing also that this can always be done on your back, like I showed you before, that eye is the needle or figure 4. But pigeon's a big one. And so many yogis who are experienced love this pose, where those who tend to be a little newer to yoga, this one's tricky. Just take your time to breathe into the shape, knowing that you're never forced to stay in something if it's not working for you. So if you need to come out, go ahead. But if you're feeling okay, see if you can relax the belly a little bit more towards your legs, towards the mat. See if you can let your head either ground into the arms or the mat or that pillow or block, something that you might have brought onto the mat with you. Assess how your shoulders are feeling. All right, beautiful work. Now, those of you who are already on your back, we're going to be there shortly. So you can just stay there. You can come out of that shape and just kind of bring knees to chest and rock around a little bit. Everybody else who's in more of this traditional one, just take your time. Maybe you're going to lift hips back up and take one more final down dog. If you're a vinyasa style practitioner, feel free to put a vinyasa here. It'll be your last one. If you say, what is a vinyasa style practitioner, then that means you don't want to do that. That's okay too. Knees drop down, friends. Put yourself down easy towards the mat. Crisscross the ankles perhaps, or sweep the legs around side as you start to transition your feet down into the earth. And then check where you are in space. I'm at the way back of my mat, so I'm going to scoot up about halfway. And then I'm going to meet everybody else who's already on our backs. We're going to meet them back on our backs. So similar to how we began, just take your time. Oh, wonderful. Just let those knees move in towards the chest if that feels good. Let them be gentle and a little bit of distance between you. You might bring the soles of the feet together, maybe starting to drop the ankles down towards the earth. Let those knees fall out to the side. Do a little check here with the head, with the breath. I'm reaching for my blocks because I forgot to tell you to bring those with you. It's always such a bummer when I don't remember to tell you to bring your props with you. Special pat on the back to anyone who reached for that before they fell to the floor. Good work. But just take a little time to check in. I'm in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined bound angle. If that feels good to you, go ahead and explore that one. If the hips feel a little overworked, it might feel nice just to let them stand up towards the ceiling, back resting on the earth, really checking in with that lumbar spine. If your knees have been out and open to the sides, let's go ahead and bring our hands down, help support those legs, bring them back up towards the center. If the block is easy to reach for or kick towards yourself or reach for a pillow, feel free to do so. We're going to insert that waterfall that I talked about earlier. So this block is going to slide underneath your back. I usually say we put it at the sacrum, but I'm starting to realize that that doesn't really feel perfect for all of us. So you just really want the block where it feels best to you. And then see if you could just listen to my voice. Try to avoid turning your head to look towards the screen if you can. Start to bring your feet up off the ground if you haven't already done so, and then just elevate those feet. Now having a little lift underneath your back here probably feels nice. And we know there's all kinds of wonderful benefits for inversions. Getting those feet up above the heart, letting us embrace this new movement of blood back to the heart. Especially if you found yourself standing a lot today, or if you've had a desk job where you've been seated, especially if you're working from home right now, or you've been driving a lot. Depending on what your occupation or just kind of what caretaking you've done today. This can have different benefits for all of us. Now I'm able to lay here with pretty straight legs, but I know that's not going to be common for everybody. So if your hamstrings are aching, you can always bring your feet down for a minute. Maybe you just elevate one leg and keep one knee bent. Kind of a flamingo pose done upside down. You can roll around the ankles and let these toes kind of have some more space. And it won't hurt you to rock your head a little bit side to side. We just don't really want to be straining our neck to view a screen. But if you want to rock your head a little bit as if you were painting with the tip of your nose, especially if you've got any kind of feelings of headache or tension in your head, a lot of times when we ground through the back of the skull, that can feel really nice. I also find when I ground through the back of my head, it really makes me intentional of how tight the muscles are in my face. Almost just as if it's when we start to check in with specific parts of our body, it just brings a new awareness. So of course, at any point in time, if you need to bring these feet down from the sky, you certainly can. We're testing ourselves today. We're leaving them up a little bit longer than we often do. A little bit of tingling in the feet is okay, but of course, if our feet are falling completely asleep, we don't want that. But it isn't uncommon to feel a little bit of tingling in your feet. And then just as I was modeling before to bend one knee, straighten one leg, if you haven't already done that, let's just do that a couple times just to wake those legs back up, especially those of you who've had them straight this whole time. And then next time you feel able to start to bring the knees slowly down. We're going to take 1 foot at a time down to the mat. And then if the body feels comfortable doing so, straighten one leg at a time. If you notice, I haven't removed the block, but you certainly can if you need to. This is a big front body stretch. Some of us, we're going to need to elevate our arms over the head to get the most out of this shape. Others are going to, immediately when they straighten one leg, they're like, nope, I don't even want to straighten the other one. It's just too much. So it just kind of depends on what you got going on. And as usual, it's never a competition. So don't worry if you're not making the exact same shape as you see on the screen, or you don't match the members of your family that are practicing along with you. All right, as you feel ready, we're going to start to, kind of shrink that, shorten that, bring ourselves back close. I'm going to take one more bridge pose because I've got this block underneath me. I'm going to use it as an opportunity to challenge myself a little bit, lift the hips up off the block. If you want to hold there for a breath or two, great. If you're ready to just reach for that block or blanket or pillow, whatever you've had underneath, if you pull it out and then just lower down, you certainly can. When that bridge feels complete, take your time to lower one vertebra at a time to the earth, and then just listen. Do your knees want to sweep side to side? Do they need to be pulled into the belly, into the heart, into the chest? And then just listen to any other final postures that the body might be requesting before you find your final shape of Savasana. And today, I might challenge you to try something a little different for Savasana. If you remember our star pose or a big X balance shape, maybe that will feel good in your Savasana today. Planting those heels on the earth, letting your toes roll towards the outer edges, the outside edges of the mat, off towards the carpet or the floor on either sides of your mat. Maybe your arms reach up overhead and you take up space. You're not at the studio. You're at home. So your Savasana can be as large as you'd like it to be today. You can really allow yourself to melt into the earth without fear of, what if I fall asleep? Just relax. This is the thank you note. This is the time where you get to say thank you to your physical body. This is the time where you get to say thank you to your mind, to your heart, to the depths of your soul for supporting you and being here, not only for your physical asana, this practice time we have, but just all existence every day. Rest here on the earth and take slow, gentle, easy breaths. Knowing that when it's time, you'll hear my voice. I'll call you back. Or you can ignore me because you're at home and just stay right there on the earth. Let this Savasana be time for you. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Allowing for very easy, gentle movements to come back into the body. Let these be simple. Maybe an opening and closing of your hands, a rolling around of your head, or hugging those knees into the chest, rocking side to side, just taking whatever feels like it makes sense as you start to move yourself out of your Savasana and back towards your seat. I want you to come into that seated position, bringing the palms together at the heart, maybe crisscrossed or bound angle or just legs, however they feel most comfortable here in your space. And just take a quiet moment to breathe. Reflecting on today's opening intention, our power thought coming from our wisdom card said, "My home is a peaceful haven." As you end your Savasana today, I'd like you to just take a quiet moment of gratitude for your home, for this safe haven that you've had to shelter in place, to stay home. I greatly appreciate you taking this time, not only for your physical body each week to move and breathe with us, but for your mind to have a chance to sift as well. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Namaste.